Woo! What's up, guys? Guess what I got in today? Got home on the front porch, R10 Model 2s. So today, I'm going to show you guys how to set up these R10 Model 2s, how to configure them to work as a base and a rover. So we're going to go through the survey styles, how to set it up. We're going to Bluetooth them. We're going to do the whole bit. And we're going to do this with a TSC7. And I don't know, should I do it with 2018 or 2017? So, figuring a lot of you probably are switching to the 2018. So let's do it with the 2018. I'll show you Windows 10 2018 on a TSC7, how to set these receivers up. Now, if you're using a TSC3, it's going to be pretty similar process, just going to be a little bit different because we're going to be working on Windows 10 and we're going to be working in 2018. But you guys watch this. I'll get the tripod and stuff set up, or at least go get it anyways, get it all set up and get ready to go. So watch this, be right back. Okay, so there's a couple things you're going to need. One of them for sure is going to be this height adapter. So what we're going to see is in our survey styles, this height adapter actually comes into play, because when we set up our survey style, we want to be able to I hate to say this, but I like to call it idiot proofing. So I like to idiot proof my GPS setup so that my base is always the same height, my rover is always the same height. That way I don't have any issues with rods and different problems that I've seen in the past. So what this thing does is it can set on a tri-brack, which is probably not my personally favorite way to do this, and you can measure from here to your point. So it's got a measurement here that comes from the bottom of this down to the ground. Ideally, you want to put this on a fixed height tripod. That's my personal way of doing it, so I can ensure that it's set up the same every time. So I like using this thing and setting it up in the survey style, and I'll show you why that's important here in a little bit. Other thing you're going to need, a data collector. So this is a TSC7 data collector. You can get a Ranger 7 or a TSC7. They're both the same thing, Windows 10 operating system. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see how to set this thing up. So what we've got, two brand spanking new R10s in here. Voila. So we pull one out, and you guys get to witness me taking the shower cap off of it for the first time. So voila, brand new, never been turned on, never been used. Woo! They're pretty. In about a week they'll be all scratched up. So R10 batteries. These batteries are a little different than the batteries that you're used to using. When you push the button on top, they light up when they've got a charge in them. These are brand new, and apparently they don't have any charge at all. So that means I'm going to have to go get my old batteries, and that's what we're going to end up using. But anyways, how this works is, pop that open. If you look on this battery, you'll see the connections up here. If you look inside the receiver, you can see the connections on top. You're going to put that in there. Mashed in, it goes click. There you go. So right up here at the top is also the place for the SIM card. So you've got a spot if you want to use my cell phone base to rover trick, which I haven't built that video yet. But if you want to use that, that's really cool. You can pop an AT&T SIM card in there and use it. I believe you can also use it Wi-Fi as well. I think you could actually take like a hotspot and hook it up to this and do the same thing, but that's another video. We'll worry about that later. So, brand new antenna. So this is the Model 2 R10. So these things are supposed to have better battery life, a little bit more memory, got more satellite signals to pick up. So we'll set them up and we'll see what we can find out. We'll see how well they work. Tell you about the chargers. These are everyday chargers, just like the other chargers. These little things right here pop out, and it's a normal charger. You can put a robot battery in here, SX10, S5, whatever. You can put an R8 battery in here, put this in here, and that R10 battery goes in there. So one charger for everything. Pretty handy. We've got these snap locks. They go on the bottom of these R10s. These are probably the best snap locks I think I've ever seen in my life. Pull that button down, push forward. When it snaps in there, it ain't going nowhere. So, that's just a quick little overview. So let's set up a 2-meter fixed height. It's actually adjustable height. I don't know why it's called fixed height, but anyways, we're gonna set it 2 meters, drop a pin in it, and I'm gonna show you how to set up the survey style. Got my tripod pulled out here. We are fixing to stick it in the ground. So I'm going to run it out to 2 meters, and I'm going to put this pin in it. Okay, so let's set this thing up real quick. I'm gonna try to show you guys kind of my way of doing it, which I don't know if that's the best way or not, but I think it's the easy way. So what I typically do is I'll take these, drop these all the way down, tighten it up, stick that in the ground, stab it, repeat the process over here, all the way down, stab it. Typically I'd be sitting up over top of a point, right? Not saying that you have to, just make life a little bit easier. Okay, here's the trick. Leave that one loose. Don't tighten that up. This is that little brass knob. Don't tighten that up. Not yet. Okay, so now we have all these pieces to this puzzle, right? So here's what we're gonna do. Brass plug goes in top of there. Does not go into here. Goes into this lever extension. This piece goes onto here, like so. So you should have a 0.492 foot and a like a 0.15 or something. 0.16, 17 something. Anyways, that's your height for these. So line the 2 dots up on this thing. There's 2 dots right here. Line those 2 dots up, set that in there. So now we need an antenna. Let me pull out that awesomely dull pocket knife that I have. You know, it's funny, you have a dull pocket knife, you can never lose it. If you have a sharp knife, you can't ever find it. But the dull one cuts it open. Okay, so we're gonna put an antenna on here. Now you want to be careful when you're putting these antennas on and don't gorilla grip them. If it's not threaded good, don't force it. Once it gets there, don't tighten it up too tight. I've seen guys strip that out. That antenna goes right into the top, or goes into the board on that thing. And if you twist it too tight, you try to gorilla grip it for some reason, then you're going to twist that out of the board and you're going to get it replaced. You don't want to go there. Okay, so now all you have to do in order to level this thing up is grab a hold of these 2 handles right here, push it towards the bubble. Once you get it close to the bubble, use the grip in your fingers and just fine tune it to where you want it. okay? Once you've got that level, lock it down. Okay, so we're set up. We're ready to go. Okay, so we got the data collector out. We're going to set up our survey styles to use with the new R10 Model 2 receivers. So I want to show you on the data collector. 2018, they've kind of set up a little differently to work with Connect, Trimble Connect, so you can actually send the files back and forth between the field and the office. We probably will get into that in a later video. But projects, when you first open up Trimble Access 2018, you're going to see projects. Project could be a particular project you're working on. You're going to have several jobs underneath that project. A project could be the name of your company, and everything goes underneath that project. Depends on how you want to do it. So in my case, I've got one here called Survey Customers, and that's a project. Going to Robert Survey Customers, I'm going to say Open. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of different jobs in here. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say New Job. And this new job is going to be, we'll just call it R10 Demo. Okay, and we're going to change it to, let's go to the M's. So I hit M on the keyboard. Now I'm looking for Mississippi East. 12B, yes, I want to use geoid model, blah, 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 store that. Going through here, I want to go to the US survey feet, inch of mercury, Fahrenheit, acres, blah, blah, blah. One of the things you want to watch out for is down the station display. On station display, it's going to be defaulted to 1 + 00, and we use 10 + 00 for our stationing on our alignments and stuff, if you get into alignments. Anyways. So, I've got some templates and stuff set up in here, but we're not going to use those right now. I'm going to hit accept. Okay, so now then, let's go in. Now I'm basically, I pretty much have a blank screen. I have a map here. So let's go in to settings, and let's go to survey styles. Now, as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of survey styles in here, which I probably need to delete about half of them. So, let's go in and just hit new. So new survey style, we're going to call this R10. Whoops. How about we do function and caps, and we say R10-2. How about we call them R10-2? Different survey styles. We got different types of survey styles, conventional, integrated. We're going to do GNSS. Hit accept. Rover options, edit. We want RTK for a rover. We want to use CMRX for a broadcast format. That's like a zip file, basically, going between the base and the rover. Type R10 internal. If we look, we've got all different types. We have R10-2 internal. Remember, I'm using 2018.22, I believe. Antenna height. Well, in here, I can actually say 2 meters. If I'm going to be using a 2-meter rod all the time, and I want it to default to that, I'm not going to worry about a serial number. Station index. I get asked a lot about station index. So what station index is it lets you define your base and rover. So if you have a particular station index in here, if I said 21, or 20 or whatever. Let's say I say 20 for station index. Now I set my base station index 20. Now then I'm assured that I'm going to connect to my base and not somebody else's. I've had cases in the past, many, many years ago, to where my base shut down. It just ran out of battery and died, and I picked up corrections from somebody else close. Well, I was on state plane coordinates. They were on assumed, so it jumped me over about 10 feet on a water line I was taking. Well, I knew immediately what was going on, but with station index, that keeps that from happening to you. So let's look, elevation mask, blah, blah, blah. With these R10 Model 2s, you want to make sure and turn everything on. It's a good idea to turn everything on whatever receiver you're using, so that way you know what receivers is picking up what. So Rover Precision, Auto Tolerance. We have X-Fill and Tilt. I'm not a big tilt fan. You've probably seen one of my videos. I'm gonna turn the tilt off, I'm gonna turn the X-Fill on. That's me personally. If you like tilt, use tilt. Okay, so accept Rover data link. We want to use receiver internal. We're good there for right now. Base options. This is where I was talking about that lever extension. So we're going to use CMRX. Make sure you're using the same broadcast format. Like I said, it's like a zip file. So going between the base and the rover, you want to make sure that you have the same correction format. So antenna type, there again, we're going to go see if we can find, there is an R10-2 internal in here. We're going to use it. Antenna height, I'm going to say 2 meters. And the reason I'm going to say 2 meters is I'm going to say measure to lever of R10 extension. So basically what I'm doing is, here's my lever of R10 extension. So I'm going to put this on top of the 2 meter pole. When I do that, then it knows the offset from the, if I say 2 meters to the top of my fixed height, then it knows this offset, the quick release, all the way up to the phase center. Okay, so you don't have to worry about measuring anything. So we're going to do that. Station index, I said 20. We're going to put 20 in here. There again, we're going to make sure we turn everything on. And I'm going to go back and look. Lever of extension, measure to, hit accept. Base data link, it defaults under this radio setting. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it to receiver internal. Okay. So I'm going to store that. Now in these settings, like I guess I should mention, like topo point, you can choose either to auto store or not. Auto store means as soon as it gets its information, it's going to store the shot. So if you like to put the code in, then hit measure, use auto store. If you want to take the shot, then store it after you put the code in, then leave that unchecked. That's basically how it is. Some of you old school guys with Survey Pro, you like to be able to put the code in and then hit store. If that's the case, just don't check that. Okay, so I'm going to hit accept. Anything I do in here in the survey style, this is the default, right? So whatever I set in here is default. And then in every survey, I can change my settings however I want it. So if during a survey I want to change something, I can. But it's always going to default back to whatever I've got set in these survey styles. Store. Okay, so we got that done. Now what we need to do, so I should have went and got some batteries. I guess I'll go get some batteries right now because it appears all these batteries are dead. I'll be back just a second. Okay, I'm back. Went and had to grab some batteries. So you'll notice on these batteries, when I hit the button on them, it lights up. So I know how much power is in them. So let's go ahead. We'll do one at a time. Let's Bluetooth these things. Take that battery out. Need to remember to charge those. Turn that on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into settings and we're going to go to connections. Whoops. Let's try that again. Hit the little 3 bars at the top. Settings and connections and Bluetooth. Okay, so now then we're going to hit configure. And we're going to add a Bluetooth or other device. We're going to say Bluetooth. Okay, now it's looking for a Bluetooth. Okay, there it is. It's found by R10 Model 2. We're going to select it. It says connecting. Your device is ready to go. Done. Well, that one was easy. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's get this one out. Let's pull off the shower cap. check it. As you can see, we got power in it. Turn it on. We'll say add Bluetooth device. We're going to say Bluetooth, and we're going to wait for this one to connect. Okay, so it's found the R10 Model 2, connecting. Your device is ready to go, done. Okay, so we'll close out of there. Now then, the only question is which one do we want to make a base, which one we want to make a rover? Because it doesn't make any difference because they're both identical. Either one can be a base, either one can be a rover. But I tell you what, to make your life a little bit easier with data collector, pick out which one you want for a base, pick out which one you want for a rover, and figure it out. Now, the serial numbers are on the bottom of these things. You can look at the serial number and see what's what. So, for right now, we're going to use this one, which is, let's see, I wonder how many R10-2s I got in here. 285. Helps when you scroll down to the bottom. I've been connected to 2 other R10 Model 2s. I was like, man, why in the world is this not working? 285. I'm going to call 285 is going to be my base, and 287 is going to be my rover. So we're going to use this one for the base. We're going to use that other one as a rover. Okay, so I'm connected to the receivers. So if you missed that, go into settings, we're going to go to connections, we're going to go to Bluetooth, and we're going to choose which receiver we want to use. Whether we use the, we're going to use 287 for the rover, 285 for the base. Now that we got that going, let's do this. So, I'm going to hit accept. Now then, I'm going to go to measure, and I've got a new one called R10-2, and I'm going to say start base receiver. Okay, so it says it's connecting to the base via Bluetooth. So we're going to look at something, because one thing that we haven't checked is the radio. I have no idea if the radio between the base and the rover is going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to check to make sure that the frequency and the link rate are correct. Okay, so it knows it's got it. So up here at the top of the screen, you're going to see the instrument, the batteries, the satellites, all that good stuff. You hit that little instrument icon, it's going to take you to different modes. So if I go to, it's on base mode right now. So you can tell because it's lit up orange. Now if I go to data link and I look, down at the bottom of the screen it says connect. So let's hit connect and see what we got. So if I hit connect, it says I'm at 461.0250. Let's make this easy on ourselves. Let's go to 461.1000 like every other server on the planet. Repeaters supported, none. Enable station ID. So Trim Talk 4800, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to go to 8000. The higher the baud rate you have, the bits per second you've got, the faster the information travels. So if I had 30 satellites at my base, and I have 30 satellites at my rover, in order for the information to travel from one to the other, if I've got 4800 baud rate on this thing, bits per minute or bits per second, then the information traveling from the base to the rover doesn't get there in time. So I could start out with 30 at the base and I could have 30 at the rover, but because the information doesn't get over there, now I'm down to 20 because the information got there too late. So you want to make sure you use the highest baud rate you can and the fastest correction format you can, because you want to get the data as quickly as you can between the base and rover. If you've ever stood out in the field going, why is this thing not fixed? That's probably what the problem is. You could be standing out in a wide open sky and be in a float mode and can't figure out what's wrong. And the reason is because your data is not getting from your base to the rover in a timely manner. Somebody's walking on you, somebody's interfering with your communication. Change radio channels, bounce around on that. Make sure you're licensed FCC and you've got all 14 channels because you may need them bouncing around. Me personally, I like cell phone based to rover. That way I don't have to deal with frequencies and everything unless I just can't get cell phone connection, then I'll go back to radio as my secondary. Okay, so transmit level, we're gonna say 2 watt because these have got a 2 watt radio in them. Channel sharing. Channel sharing is going to be when somebody else is talking on the same frequency, okay? So these are 2 watt radios, so they really don't fall under too many guidelines. You can say avoid weak signals, avoid strong signals, or in our case, we're just going to say none. I'm going to say accept. Now I'm going to back out. Now I'm going to go back in here. Now we know we're at 461 1000 and 8000 for a baud rate, and that's what we want to set the rover up at. So for right now, since we don't have a point sitting here, we don't have any information. There's a couple different things I could do. I could connect to a network, like here in Mississippi, I could connect to the GCGC network, Mississippi Single Base, and I could record a point here if I wanted to. Or I can store static data and send it off to Opus. We may look at a survey style, an Opus survey style in a later video, and then show you guys how to send the data off and correct it. So what we're gonna do right now is, and by the way, this is a great way to check if you're having problems and you can't get communication between a base and a rover, and you're like, okay, I've done everything Robert said. I've got all the frequencies set and everything else. Create just a BS job and do a here position and see if you can get corrections. I have had so many people call me over the years that say, hey, everything's working. I can't figure out what's wrong with my radio. I can't get base to rover. What's my problem? I tell them to do an autonomous position and see what the problem is. And 9 chances out of 10, they'll find out they're sitting on the wrong coordinate, or they've keyed in the wrong coordinate or something, because these receivers know their autonomous position. And if that control point that you're setting on is not within the tolerance that it's looking for, it'll act like it's broadcasting, but it won't. Your rover won't pick up anything. So, and trust me, if you run into that issue, first thing you should do is start a dummy job, do an autonomous position, and see if it works. So here's how we do that. I'm going to point number 1. I'm gonna hit the arrow out here on the right. I'm gonna say key in, and down at the bottom of the screen, there's a here position. So I'm gonna do here. It automatically populates a coordinate based on the latitude and longitude that the receiver is picking up. The data collector is converting that latitude and longitude into a coordinate, state plane coordinate. Point number 1, I'll just call it CP for control. Enter, store, and I'm gonna say start. Starting survey, base started. Okay, so now then, if we were to take a little bit closer look on this receiver, you've got your Wi-Fi is broadcasting. So this has internal Wi-Fi. We'll get into that in a little bit. You have satellites and you have a radio. So that's telling me the radio is broadcasting, I'm picking up satellites, and I'm broadcasting a Wi-Fi, and that's my power light right there. Okay, so I've got the rover set up, we're ready to roll. So now all we gotta do is make sure we got the radio and stuff set up. So let's hit that little hotkey up at the top, the little instrument icon. Let's go into rover mode real quick. So now it's gonna try to connect up to this rover and with Bluetooth. So let's just give it a second, let it connect up. Okay, now we're gonna go to data link. There again, we're gonna hit connect. We hit connect. There we are. It's set on the same frequency. We're going to 461 1000. We're going to change it to an 8000 baud rate. Hit accept. Accept. Hit OK. Okie doke. So we're out of there. So now we've got both radios set up on the same frequency and everything. Now you'll see right now it's not receiving anything because we haven't initiated the radio since we made the change. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to measure R10-2. Well, the idea was I was going to hit measure points, but my fat finger kind of missed a little bit. It says my reliability, my station index is 20 and my reliability is 100%. I'm going to say accept.
Waiting for information from the base.
There we go. So I jumped into measure codes instead of measure points. There we go. How's that? Now we're in there. So now you'll notice up at the upper right hand corner of the screen it says RTK 0.01, vertical 0.02. So, and you'll see the green check mark next to it. That means we're initialized. R10 Model 2s, man, I've seen like 30 satellites in the right time of the day in the right place. One of the things you always want to do when you're setting up your GPS is you want to make sure your base station is set up in a wide open area. It's not a good idea to set it up like I did right here in these trees. you're limiting yourself. You want to be able to see common satellites. Your GPS doesn't do you any good unless you're working with common satellites. So if I'm working on satellite 1, I need satellite 1 on the rover as well as on the base. Otherwise, it doesn't do you good. So in this situation, we're probably not in the best, but hey, 19 satellites, probably 20 satellites here in a minute. Hey, well, I take that back. I dropped down to 18. So, so anyways, that's setting up base and rover in a nutshell. Works for you. I hope this helps you, especially you new guys come up and coming. I thought I'd kind of show you guys 2018 access. I hadn't done that yet. I'll still try to bounce back and forth between 2017, 2018 on some stuff, because some of you have changed, some of you haven't. But if you're getting new gear, if you're getting R10 Model 2s and you're getting a TSE 7, you're probably going to get access 2018.2 something. So you guys have a good one. Be safe. God's sakes, be careful. Weather's getting better. Snakes are coming out. Don't cut your leg off with a machete or something stupid like that, okay? So you guys be safe. God bless. And I'll see you guys in the next video.